All right. This time, I want to talk about our problems real quick because I'm tired and I want to go to bed. But I can't believe it. I want to go to bed. The best way to solve a problem is to get to the root of the problem. So Jesus came basically to save us from ourselves, because we're the problem, honestly. And it's not that everyone is bad, essentially. It's that everyone's kind of selfish. And that doesn't mean every person, every moment of the day, but saving us from ourselves means teaching us to be selfless. Because I'll say it again, a human person by himself is kind of useless, okay? We're here with all these other people in the world because we need each other for something. There's a reason there's so many of us. And it gets really, really, really difficult for all these people to relate to each other effectively and work together when we're in it for ourselves. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have everything we need, because there is enough of everything we need in the world. There's plenty. And that doesn't mean that it should just be like equal distribution and nobody does anything. It means that there's a flow and a give and take between people. And, we seek to help each other move forward. So that can be applied to a lot of situations. For instance, the situation that I'm facing now, and I realize, I could go and I could keep spending my energy and my brain space and my frustration. And not that I'm ignoring, like, I am dealing with the issue that I'm dealing with, but realizing that the problem is that the system is broken. And what good does it do me to play this game when the rules have kind of evolved and twisted, especially in Virginia? This is the Commonwealth. We things can be manipulated, and like the further that goes, like, it's just a sad situation. And maybe the legal system doesn't want to admit it, but this is a huge problem, and not just for me, and not just because I did go through it personally for 7 years. I've had it with people who just operate with no integrity, and it's destructive to so many people and so many families, especially working people, especially the family law is probably the worst of anything, and I've seen so many people go through it, not just me. And we live and have to function within a system where we're paying to deal with our issues, instead of hopefully we could mediate them and work them out. But I feel like people are so defensive, and like it turns into a battle, and we end up paying these lawyers who are supposed to be working for us hundreds and hundreds of dollars an hour to work against us. And I'm not saying it's every person. I am saying it's a huge problem. Productivity and the money that we pay for it is a huge problem when the people that end up suffering, especially when you're dealing with family law, are your children. And that's not the specific issue that I'm dealing with now, but it's huge. But the issue that I am dealing with now is that if you're in a position where you've already been stolen from, cheated, manipulated, and then basically, an attorney is hired to stonewall your efforts instead of protect the law. And I understand, people pay for a lawyer, but if I am forced to represent myself because I haven't been paid, many, many, many thousands of dollars and am in, a terrible financial situation because of it, have been accused of stealing. My reputation has been severely damaged, by these people who didn't have the facts, who didn't investigate at all, to find out what the truth is, and refuse to communicate with me at all, which puts me in a situation where I have to prove that they have to pay me, which, okay, I can do. That's going to cost me a lot more time and a lot more money. But the problem is that there's no respect for the way that things are supposed to go. It shouldn't be allowed that false claims can be made. It shouldn't be allowed that just because you're an attorney or just because you can afford representation, that you can get away with defaming someone's character, that you can get away with accusing them of stealing, that you can get away with forcing their time and attention to prove that you've stolen from them. Now, if these people had actually accused me formally of stealing and hired an investigator instead of just telling me that I stole and that they can prove it, and falsifying documents without doing investigation and accusing me of spending money that clearly someone else did, if it had been actually investigated, if they had actually believed that I stole anything, if they had actually made a report that I stole anything, then I would be an accused criminal, and then I would have a free attorney to defend me. But when somebody commits a crime against the person who really deserves justice, there's nothing that you can do except for spend all of your energy and resources trying to defend yourself, when there's no public assistance if you're willing to work. If it's an employment issue, then because it's so much money, then Labor Department doesn't really want to have anything to do with it. And we're talking about people trying to hide like the super, super, super shady stuff that they did. So of course they don't want to call the police because they don't want to draw attention to that. But having produced hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of evidence, the fact is that these people are aware of the situation, did have communication, and simply refused to pay me because their lawyer can manipulate a law around it. And they can convince people, however they convince them, to not come forward and do the right thing and offer testimony. And I have to pay to basically file another lawsuit and subpoena these people. I have to hunt them down when these people have wronged me. So that's what we're dealing with. So sometimes you have to stop what you're doing and bring attention to the real root of the problem. And the problem is that these practices are just accepted. And it's so destructive, not just for me in my situation, which is why that I want to bring attention to this. And I want to draw attention to it because I want more accountability in the legal system. I'm sick of it. It cost me tens of thousands of dollars, working 2 and 3 jobs, not getting to spend time with my son. And there was never any valid reason for taking me to court for anything. None of it was ever the truth. Not one time was it true. And it was allowed. And in 7 years I went through this. And not only that, the mental anguish, not to mention the time that I had to put into it, paying lawyers, and when I couldn't pay lawyers, then having to do the work myself, having lawyers work with the other lawyer working against you, and then have to take your own attorney to court. I'm not the only person this happens to. It's sick that it's allowed, and somebody needs to draw attention to it. And honestly, like, you people, you don't scare me. I don't care how many millions of dollars you hid. I don't care how many people you send to follow me. You're gonna have to shoot me. Like, I've had it. Like, coming into my house, taking my stuff, hacking into my stuff. I didn't steal anything. You know, I don't know what you did with the rest of the stuff that you need to hide, but enough is enough. You know, like, when it comes down to the legal system is so corrupt that I have to then report it to the FBI. Local police don't really care because I live in like the ghetto of Reston, and who cares if they take my stuff? I should just buy more cameras and get more locks. They don't really care if you hack into your stuff. Finally, you get a hold of a person, and then you have to talk to internal affairs because the police don't care. And like, enough is enough is enough. Like, either we continue to take it, you know, and honest people continue to get screwed, or we draw attention to corruption in the legal system itself. And I'm sorry, maybe there used to be integrity, but this happens on the daily, okay? The general practice is lawyers are not in place. Like, they're supposed to be defending the law and upholding the law. But really, what they're doing is making a bunch of money. And I'm not saying every person, okay? But the amount of money that people dump into the legal system to not solve problems is insane, especially in family law and things like that, when nobody comes out better, especially not your kids. How many people do you know that have gone through divorce or child custody issues, and it's just money, 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 money? Does anyone win? No. And that, like, it's because there's no standard of operating with integrity. There has to be more transparency in communication, and the money that's paid should go into actual work. It should actually be working for the people. And like, seriously, no offense. I'm not saying that I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's a huge deal. And like, defaming somebody's character is a huge, gigantic deal. Like, all I have is my reputation at this point. And I didn't do anything wrong. You know, and if the whole nation can spend months and months and months watching, you know, the Johnny Depp trial on the TV, like, do we have the mental energy and the passion to defend ourselves? For real? I'm not saying it's not a big deal. It is, but every person is a big deal. Every person this happens to. And just because we don't have the resources to deal with this, like, I'm sorry, but I am extremely resourceful. Like, I will find a way, you know? And not to cause trouble, it's because you've caused so much trouble for me, and I've been nothing but reasonable. So, for freaking real, like, this is sick. And it's sick enough that I'm gonna set aside, exactly, like, I do deserve justice, but the major problem is that we all deserve justice. We all deserve to live in peace and not have to worry about going against a system that is designed to protect us, to protect the law. We have no protection under the law. Unless you're a criminal, unless you actually are a criminal, or actually get accused and there is some evidence that you've committed some crime, then you get defense for free. It's backwards. So I've had it. I guess I am going to start with an open letter and get it to the attention of the people that I need to. But I've freaking had it. I've freaking had it with dishonest, disgusting people. If this is how you're going to deal with honest people, then watch how I deal with you. You know? And I believe, honestly, that's a healthy kind of anger. Like, I've freaking had it with bullies and manipulators, all about money. Like, I earned my money. This is happening to me from people that are just inheriting millions, refusing to pay me money that I worked my butt off for, to save them from having to deal with what I did. And it's sick. And it stops here. Love you. Please like and share. Like, I wish this could be a happier message. Some of them are not going to be, but like, I've freaking had it with dishonest, disrespectful, horrible people. Please share this message. Thank you.